Yeah, we'll just get started. All right, I call the meeting to order.
Newton Falls meeting March 18th, 2026.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, Mr. Acomb.
Mr. Crop,
Here.
Mr. Axiotis,
Here.
Mr. Burke,
Yes, here.
Mr. Rufner,
Here.
Ms. Stemper.
Here. Do we have changes to tonight's agenda?
I didn't hear you.
Changes to tonight's agenda? No. Do we have no presentations? Nobody's here? Public comments? Anything first? All right, moving on. Reports. We start with Ward 1.
You want to start with me or Brian?
Whoever.
Okay. You. We usually start with you. Okay.
One of you make a decision and start, okay?
I was just caught off guard. I didn't usually.
Sorry.
It's Brian first.
Sorry.
Okay, so I have an extensive report, as I typically do. It was a busy last couple weeks. The first thing I want to address is a matter that took place. I followed up after our meeting, our previous meeting on March 4th. I sent out an email to all of my colleagues, to members of council, regarding comments that were made by one of my council colleagues at the previous meeting, where I was defamed and untrue, inaccurate statements were made regarding my presence here at the City Hall, at the administrative building, and the council office. So I want to clarify a few things. First, the council office is not my office, and I would like to make sure that everybody knows where that council office is. And I don't know if the individual that made the comments, Mr. Burke, actually knows where the council office is. It's actually right behind me, behind me on the dais. It's not in the administration area or anywhere near any of the administrative employees. And I came in previously before the last meeting to do some work before the council meeting, and I was actually removed by a police officer that was called, from what I found out, by the city manager, which unfortunately the city manager's not here either to discuss this with. I didn't speak with a single administrative employee, didn't speak with a single anybody or any people. I've never watched or been around or been hovering over or watching people work all day, as Mr. Burke stated at the previous meeting, which is completely false. It's unequivocally false and provably false. But the problem with that defamatory statement is it affects my reputation and my character. And also, because of those false statements that were made during the last council meeting, members of the public then took that statement and made statements of fact as well to other members of the public. So that's a very damaging, in my opinion, very damaging to my reputation as a council member. So I want to make sure that that's addressed. I sent out multiple emails and tried to do this privately. And I literally just before I sat down here at the dais this evening, received a response from Mr. Burke in regards to those comments, and I asked for a public apology, and I asked for a retraction of those statements, and he stated that he would not provide a public apology and would not retract those false statements that I think are defamatory, and I think they're untrue. I know they're untrue. They're provably untrue. And again, I just want to state that this is council's office back here behind me, and behind this door back here is where council's office is, and any council member, I would encourage any and all council members to use that office, because that's what it's for. It's for public business. It's for doing business for the city. And there were also multiple references made to other council members in other cities and how much they make. And those members, he referenced people making $30,000 a year. Us as council members, and even the mayor, welcome mayor, don't make anywhere near that. So the request that I made to have a council office was so that I wasn't paying any more out of pocket, which I already am, costing myself money to do the job here that I've been elected to do. So I want to make sure that that's addressed properly, and I would encourage, I don't think anybody else has even made an attempt, including Mr. Burke, to do that work in the council office to make such statements. I think they're ridiculous. So now to move on to the actual business of the village that I've been participating in doing. I participated on Friday, March 6th, in the Youngstown Warren Regional Chambers Local Government Leadership Academy meeting. It was the fourth of 4 meetings. And that entire program was an excellent meeting. I'm very thankful to have participated in that. And I would encourage all my colleagues, if they can at any time, to participate in these types of meetings. I met a lot of great people and learned a lot of great things, a lot of information that I've been able to share over the last 4 months or so with the public, with council, and again, in relationship building, trying to build coalitions and partnerships that we unfortunately, as a village, have not participated in or been involved in over the last number of years. So I've been trying to reintroduce us as a village in a positive way to build those relationships and network that will benefit not only council, myself, but the village at large. I think it's really important. So when we have an issue or a problem arises, or there's a situation we have not dealt with or handled, that we know that we have people to reach out to that have been in those situations, that have had to deal with those types of things. I think that's really, really important. So that's been part of what that was about. At that meeting, I actually we had 3 people actually presented. The presenters were Ms. Susan Wilkie. She's an Education and Communications Administrator from the Ohio Ethics Commission. She spoke on ethics and things involving ethics. I have a whole slideshow that I'd be happy to present or provide. Mr. Matthew Van Such, who's a Howland Township trustee, spoke on zoning issues and zoning matters. He had a deep zoning background. And Mr. Andy Resnick, who is a public affairs specialist, who's someone who's actually, I believe he stated he is was or is on retainer with the city of Youngstown, and spoke on crises type situations, how to handle PR as a city, as an administration, to try to lower temperatures, and how to address the public in a well thought out, well organized way to avoid any kind of bad light, or to avoid making misstatements, or just looking professional ultimately. And I think that's really important. Following that meeting, that was on Friday, March 6th. Then on March 7th, we actually had a large power outage here in town. I don't know if everybody here was affected. I know I was. I woke up first thing in the morning with my alarms and lights and everything all off. Ms. Stimpert, I believe, sent out an email letting everybody know that was taking place. And I actually had an opportunity to speak with Matt Evans, our electric supervisor, after that was all taken care of. And he was kind enough to reach back out to me and inform me what took place and what happened. And I want to make sure that I give a lot of credit to the electric department. Those guys are rock stars. Those guys are absolutely phenomenal at what they do. And the village, I don't think, we can't appreciate those guys enough for the effort and for the work that those guys do. And Matt in particular even went so far as, I think he went home and took a nap and then went and did fire duty. So again, I applaud those gentlemen, Matt in particular. He gave me a lot of information on what actually took place with our substations and what the equipment failures and things that took place. And we also briefly touched on some AMP-T things that are happening with our transmission lines and potential negotiations that may be taking place, and that kind of stuff moving forward. So a lot of useful information from the electric supervisor, Mr. Matt Evans. I do appreciate that. On March 8th, there was the law director, who unfortunately is not here this evening, sent out. We've been discussing for several months now the pole attachment agreement that's been put on our agenda and has been tabled, or has been postponed repeatedly due to the language being not good, and I think we all agreed on that. He sent out a completely redone, essentially, contract, which was, I think, very well done. But I sent out an email to him for some corrections. There were just a few minor errors within that, and I was hoping that when we got the packet this evening to see that those changes had been submitted. I don't see that those few changes, and I'll touch on those when that legislation comes up. I'll touch on those so we can either amend those, or if we need to discuss and maybe postpone, so be it. And then following that was on March 8th, March 10th and March 11th. That was the Columbus Drive-In that I attended, and thank you to council again for allowing me to be able to do that. I do appreciate that, and the village, I think, will hopefully appreciate that as well. March 10th, I drove down to Columbus to attend the red and white reception that was hosted by Youngstown State. President Bill Johnson, who is a former state representative, is now the president of Youngstown State, gave a presentation and spoke during that reception. And also president of the Youngstown-Warren Regional Chamber, Mr. Guy Coviello, spoke as well. There were many state representatives in attendance. There were many former state representatives and congresspeople in attendance. And then I would say probably 75 to 100 local and regional leaders were in attendance as well. So again, being able to advocate and speak to and try to build relationships with those individuals was very valuable at that reception. I spoke with a number of city managers, a number of mayors, a number of other individuals throughout those 2 days. So the second day was March 11th. Got up on March 11th and went to the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, which is across the street from the Ohio State House. And again, were met with presentations. The Speaker of the House, Mr. Matt Huffman, spoke. As he was the introductory speaker. And then he was followed by Senate President Rob McCauley, who also spoke. Both of them spoke very highly of the Mahoning Valley and their ties and connections with the Mahoning Valley, and let everybody know, all the leaders and stuff that were there and the representatives that were there, that their phones are open and they're available for communications to try to help and better the Mahoning Valley region, which I think was very positive. I spoke with, again, multiple individuals were there, including the mayor from Youngstown, the new mayor, Mr. Derek McDowell. I had a chance to speak with him. He had some questions for both of the speakers, Mr. Huffman and Mr. McCauley. Mr. McDowell was very impressive, and I talked to him at length, him and one of his staff members, and hope to set up future sit-down meetings with them as well to work collaboratively with them. And I won't go into the entire list. I know this is already a long presentation, but I spoke with Mr. McDowell, who's the Youngstown mayor, the mayor from Struthers, Ms. Catherine Miller, the mayor from McDonald, Mr. Ray Lewis, the mayor from Girard, Mr. Mark Zuppo, the city manager from Columbiana, Mr. Lance Willard, the city manager from Canfield, Mr. Dave Diabolito, and also a couple individuals from the Trumbull County Historical Society, Megan Reed and Ryan McLennan, were very informative about some things that I've been working on I'm going to be presenting to council in the near future regarding our community. Make sure I got everything here. That was on March 11th. There were several other meetings. Also, we got to sit down and have a private breakout session with State Representative Nick Santucci and have some very open discussions with him and his staff and all these members of our regional area. Very positive. And that was followed up then, fast forward to March 16th, which was just this Monday, and we had a special meeting. And I won't discuss what we talked about at that special meeting, but I'm hoping moving forward that we'll be able to address some of the items that were discussed in our executive session. I think that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Are you sure?
I think I covered everything. Mr. Clark.
The only thing I want to talk about is, I'm going to echo what he said about the electrical outages we had. I think at some point we had a lot of risk in the city from that standpoint, and the electrical department did a fantastic job. And I also want to thank Bill George, our former department head, who came in on his day off while his retirement and assisted as well and lent some expertise to the situation. So I just want to thank him as well. That's all I've got.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm sorry.
Good, Bob.
Through the chair, I would also like to thank the electric department. They've always been an amazing department, like all the other city departments. Also, I spoke to the city manager after the storm, and then she spoke to the street department superintendent. And I asked if there could be a limb pickup, because previous storms we've done that. So if any citizens of the village of Newton Falls have downed limbs, if you have them at your curb, the street department will pick them up from starting tomorrow through next Friday. Just call the city administration building with your address so the street department can come around and pick up those limbs. So I also would like to thank the street department for participating in cleaning up after the storm. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Burke.
Just real quick, Mayor, I did receive a communication earlier today requesting follow-up and information regarding the construction and sometimes inconvenience of traffic on Broad Street and Canal in the areas where Enbridge is doing their work. That is part of the Enbridge infrastructure upgrade from taking over Dominion East Ohio Gas. This is a project they did start several months ago, but unfortunately the weather preempted their efforts to complete in a timely manner. We really have no say or no control over their project, but what they're doing is they're coming back now and they're finishing up the sidewalks, they're finishing up the final repairs on their project, the cleanup aspect of it. So obviously when we had sub-zero temperatures and snow blowing, they obviously couldn't come out and do the cleanup. So as the weather's permitting, They're coming out, they're putting in the concrete, they're getting areas cleaned up. So again, bear with us for a little bit longer while they finish up their project, but should be done relatively soon, and soon being maybe a month or 2 months or so. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Riffner.
My turn.
Yes.
I just have a few things. My entire time seated here, I'm going to say my biggest complaint or concern has come from our garbage removal, garbage pickup. Our contract that we were in will be coming to an end, and we have requested that we go out for bid and look at finding the best cost and the best service that we can get. So that is happening. Additionally, to piggyback on the electric, we are all very spoiled. We don't know what it means to have our electric out for more than 45 minutes or so. So again, I appreciate all those guys, and Bill George. Matt Evans reached out to me very early in the morning to let me know that there was a crisis, and I did notify you guys through email because I wasn't going to call you at that time of morning. And again, I think he touched base with most of us, if not all of us, and gave us the details, and I appreciate that. Although I don't understand most of it, but he talks in my language for me. But I do greatly appreciate that. I was happy to hear that the street department's going to go out and help clean up the limbs. That's a great thing. As far as the fire department, super excited to announce that we have sold our big ladder truck that was not in use. The cost of fixing it and maintaining it was just astronomical. We had been paying for it to be stored in the garages over there by the car wash, and that's been kind of a thorn in our side. So the truck is sold, gone, and by the end of the month we will be out of that storage unit, which will save a monthly fee. And then the best part of our meeting yesterday, we have approved adding 2 additional staff for our overnight coverage. They are getting slammed, and we are having to call in mutual aid because our guys are still out, or our truck's not back, or whatever. So it's probably going to be a few months out because we have to do some work to Station 2 across from McDonald's, and obviously get the schedules and stuff going. But I'm happy to see us moving forward and getting that done, and hoping that it's successful and we can cover more of our residents' needs with that. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Joy. If I may, I'd like to report I got to speak with Miller Pipeline today, and they're about wrapped up with their concrete work and sidewalks. They've got some blacktop that they have to do, and they'll be coming back through with the tree lawns and yards that were disrupted during the laterals being put in. So they're just about finished up, and even so, if you're out and about town, look out for the wet concrete because it's out there. That is it for me. All right. So we'll move on to approval of previous minutes.
So moved.
I'll second.
Ms. Stempert, Mr. Axiotis.
Mayor, may I address?
Please.
With regards to the minutes, there is a correction I'd like to have noted. If we go to the page 2, 4th ward comments, the very last comment it shows made where I spoke about the fire board, that was actually Ms. Stempert, not me. So if we could just note and strike that out.
Yes, sir.
You have an extra pen?
Oh, yeah, the last sentence.
Thank you.
Of course.
Oh, you. Mayor's having an
It's
issue.
having a pen meltdown here.
Here's, do you want this? Will this help?
Yeah, yes, that probably will.
Hi, Rachel.
All right, excuse me one moment here while I mop up the ink.
Mr. Acom, just to clarify, that you can just make that correction. We can still approve this, knowing that the correction is,
I believe so.
okay.
All right, public hearings.
We gotta
Oh,
vote.
okay.
Mr. Rufner,
Yes, as
Mr.
amended.
Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Axiotis,
Yes.
Mr. Crop,
Yes.
Ms. Stempert.
Yes.
Passed 5-0.
I now will move on to item 4. I'm sorry, item 9, public hearings. This is ordinance 2026-08. This is an ordinance approving the recodification, editing, and inclusion of certain ordinances as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinance of Newton Falls, Ohio. All right, on to ordinance 2026-10. This is an ordinance repealing certain provisions of Charter 121 of the codified ordinance of the Village of Newton Falls to ensure constitutional compliance, alignment with state laws, and legal defensibility. Next, we have ordinance 2026-13. This is an ordinance repealing ordinance 95-05 and removing chapter 739 of the Newton Falls Codified Ordinances. And on to item 10, which is unfinished business. This would be ordinance 2026-07, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a pole attachment agreement.
I'll make
So
the
moved.
motion.
Pardon me?
I said I'll make the motion.
Oh, I'll second.
Mr. Rufner and Ms. Stempert.
All right, for the purpose of discussion, I'd like to suspend the rules of council.
Please.
I'll second.
She got it.
Mr. Rufner and Ms. Stempert. Mr. Crop,
Yes.
Mr. Axiotis.
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Rufner,
Yes.
Ms. Stempert.
Yes.
Rules are suspended.
What you got, Kev?
I was going to open the floor up to you for your
Changes?
changes.
Okay. I sent an email out to the law director on, I believe it was March 8th, after he sent this out. And this has been basically a complete rewrite of the pole attachment agreement, which I honestly, I think this is a much better version myself. And I stated that in the email that I sent out, but the corrections were, if I remember off the top of my head, section 1.4 is, there's a language in section 1.4. Let me pull this out real quick. It says facility removal, and it says in the second sentence, licensee at the request of licensor shall remove at licensee's expense all of licensor's equipment. It should say licensee's equipment. So that was a mistake in the language. So that was that one there. I think there was, I asked a question about 1.6, which is a term of renewal. It wasn't a correction, it was just information to see if, I believe this agreement has a 3-year contract, and then after that first term of 3 years, it would take 90 days, either party could terminate. I wanted to see if there was any other way that we could have 90 days regardless of a 3-year, having to be in for 3 years first. I didn't get a response. And then, if I remember correctly, one of the next items.
Brian, what page are you on?
Right now, I'm gonna go to page 7.
Thank you.
Bottom of page 7. This is gonna be 2.10, so 210. This is just a grammatical, says compliance with 2 safety codes. So nothing as far as language is concerned, but just a grammatical issue. And then also, if you go all the way back, and I'm doing this out of memory, so apologies if I don't get this exactly right. If you go all the way to the second to last page, you'll notice where it says Schedule A1 at the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a table that says nearest street address of attachment, and then it says MAPSCO grid number. In the email that I sent out to the law director requesting a change, I had spoken with Supervisor Matt Evans about this. The MAPSCO grid is a Dallas-Fort Worth area grid. We don't have that here. That doesn't apply in any way, shape, or form to Newton Falls. Mr. Evans actually replied back to the law director and me as well, stating that he was okay removing that and just putting, I think, poll numbers or something, a different.
There was other
GIS
letters.
mapping.
Thank you,
Yeah, there's other
GIS,
letters.
thank you. And he said as long as that was changed, he was okay with it. And again, as you can see in the final, this is still not changed. So I think that's all the ones I had, if I'm not mistaken. As far as the language is concerned, everything else, like the deemed access, the deemed granted access, the defensibility, the indemnification, all those different things, in my opinion, was all, but those issues were not addressed. There was no corrections made, and there was no follow-up from the law director at all, and he's not here this evening.
Can I, did you speak to Matt regarding, like, I spoke to Matt and he said, I know these changes or the corrections, but he was good with the content of this.
To my knowledge, he was, yeah,
Like, that's what he had told me.
yeah.
Is it doable to note specifically these changes that we want and move forward with this? Or is it send it back and wait again? Like, is,
I wish I could answer that. I don't know, because it's a contract, it's contractual. I would think that, I don't know, we can, I guess we could just amend the language. I would think we could probably address those ourselves. I don't know why we couldn't. Do you have an input, or do you have a thought?
I suspect that you could amend the language of the contract.
but,
I also suspect that it should have a legal review
That's the issue.
because it
Do
is
we
a
want to table
contract.
this until we have a law director?
Till we get an answer.
Yeah, which I don't think any of this was complicated to answer or respond back to, and it was, again, today's the 18th, that was 10 days ago that this was, and he responded back when I sent out the original corrections or suggestions for corrections. He responded back like, hey, I'll address this. And for whatever reason, there's been no addressing of this. And to Mike's point, I agree with him. We could change it, but as we know, if we change it and something comes back and he has a reason or an explanation for why he didn't change these things for some reason, I don't know what that could be, but then we have egg on our face.
I say table it again. I mean, that's the way I
table or postpone?
Postpone.
postpone. Whatever.
Mayor, at this time, I'd like to reinstate the rules of council.
A second.
Rufner, Ms. Stemper. Ms. Stemper,
Yes.
Mr. Rufner,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Exiotis,
Yes.
Mr. Crop.
Yes.
Pass 5-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to postpone this legislation until time that we get a response from the law director on the suggested changes and a finalization on this contract.
I'll second that.
Mr. Crop, Mr. Exiotis. Further discussion.
Discussion, Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Please, if you would.
I just want to add, it's not really, I guess it's not really a discussion topic. I'm a little disappointed because I was under the impression that potentially if we were able to pass this evening, well, I guess this would have been a second reading, correct? I don't know if there would have been an ability to move potential billing back, or if there was an opportunity to move potential billing back with the change in this rate, the change in the amount. So this may cost us real dollars potentially. I don't want to say that for sure, that to know that that was actually the case, but I think that had been mentioned, that there might be a possibility in that. There was no guarantee or promise of that, but it was going to be, I think it was going to be looked into. I don't know that if we had got a second reading this evening, if that would have changed things or made that available, but if it would have, that's really disappointing. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Crowley.
Mayor, if I may address?
Yeah, please.
Just point of clarification, due to the amount of changes from the previous contract to this contract, this would have reverted back to the original first reading, so we would not have been passing it as a second reading tonight, so.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. Ruffey.
Briefly amended.
Motion to postpone. Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Rufner,
Yes.
Ms. Stemper,
Yes.
Mr. Exiotis,
Yes.
Mr. Crop.
Yes.
Pass 5-0.
Next, we have ordinance 2026-08. It's an ordinance approving the recodification, editing, and inclusion of certain ordinances as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Newton Falls, Ohio. This is the final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
It's, Mr. Rufner, Mr. Crop. Discussion. Ms. Stemper,
Yes.
Mr. Rufner,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Exiotis,
Yes.
Mr. Crop,
Yes.
pass 5-0.
All right, on to ordinance 2026-10. It's an ordinance repealing certain provisions of Charter 121 of the codified ordinances of the Village of Newton Falls to ensure constitutional compliance, alignment with state law, and legal defensibility.
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Crop and Mr. Exiotis. Mr. Exiotis,
Please.
This seems to be of interest to a lot of people online. Comments were made. One of them I felt maybe alluded to the fact that council didn't want to take drug tests for various reasons. I will say that when I sat 2 years ago, I voluntarily took a drug test. I have no problem taking a drug test, but the law is the law. My job up here as a city councilman is to obviously adhere to the law as much as possible. I mean, sometimes you're going to run afoul, it happens. My other thing is to try to protect the taxpayers here. And striking this language is protecting the taxpayer, whether you realize it or not. If something is out there that's illegal, whether through ordinance or charter, and the consensus is that those things are illegal, it behooves us to address those things to avoid unnecessary lawsuits and payouts, which has been the hallmark of Newton Falls for the last few years. While I may agree with some of the things that were there, the law's the law, and you have to do what's right. And that's where I feel like my vote tonight is to do what's right, what legally is the correct thing to do. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Exiotis. Julie, you have anything?
Gonna ditto what Mr. Axio just said. Yeah.
Mr. Burke? Mr. Rufner?
Crop,
Yes.
Mr. Exiotis,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Rufner,
Yes.
pass.
Stemper.
Ms. Stemper,
Do I not get to vote? Yes. Jeez.
pass 5-0. My hands move faster than my mouth.
All right, now we have ordinance 2026-13. It's an ordinance repealing ordinance 95-05 and removing chapter 739 of the Newton Falls Codified Ordinance.
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Rufner, Mr. Exiotis. Comments?
Anyone?
Mr. Exiotis,
Yes.
Mr. Crop,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Rufner,
Yes.
Ms. Stemper,
Yes.
pass 5-0.
All right, on to item 11, new business. This is a motion to discuss the search process for a new city manager, including advertising, recruiting strategy, and selection process.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Crop and Ms. Stemper,
And then I feel like we probably need to suspend, can I make a motion to suspend rules?
I'll second that.
Ms. Stemper and Mr. Exiotis. Mr. Crop,
Yes.
Mr.
Mr. Axiotis?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Rufner?
Yes.
Ms. Stimpert?
Yes.
Pass, 5-0.
All right, can I start real quick?
Rules are suspended, do your
Please.
thing.
Okay, so, so now y'all want to hear from me, huh? So Mr. Crop sent out a while ago, job description, advertisement, the whole 9 yards, and asked for weigh-in. And I don't think there was a lot of weigh-in. I did have a conversation with Mr. Crop. I just thought it was a lot of information and long. I went back through and kind of looked at it, and I'll retract that a little bit. I'm okay with everything except for 2 points. Under required, I'm looking at the job description that you sent out.
Okay.
Under job description, it says required skills, knowledge, experience, and ability. About a third of the way down, it has never been convicted of a crime other than a minor traffic violation.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, the job description that I included was I don't think I changed or altered anything.
That's current language.
That's
Yeah.
what's always been in there.
That
So
was in
that
there.
wasn't me. I didn't
Oh,
create
okay,
that.
well, I think we need to address it then.
That's, yeah. no
Just
worries.
looking at it, doing a couple little searches, and this is one of the things I had reached out to Mr. Limbian on. We do a background check. There's language in the charter and all that. I just think it could be problematic and violate, like anti-discrimination laws.
Okay. What did Jeff, did he echo that?
He agreed, but I had put that out there first, and then he kind of echoed that back. We have things in place where we do the fingerprints and the background check, so, well. So I just don't like that language. I don't like that language. Then the other one, it says excellent physical health. First off, I think that's subjective, because my excellent health could be completely different than yours.
I agree.
And secondly, I feel like that could get us in trouble. I wrote it down somewhere what I said. When I did a couple searches and looked at different things, if we put that language in, it needs to be specific, directly related to the job. So if you're doing heavy lifting, if you're required to do, long time on your feet or
Just
something
a
like that.
Just
Yeah.
a general health.
Yeah,
point.
so like,
I think you probably just strike that altogether, honestly.
I feel like I would like to just strike that.
I have no problem.
And
You wanna
same with-
cross-
Subjective, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
very
yeah, but
subjective.
You're entitled to your health privacy. I mean, I don't
None of
have
us
to
are
go into
doctors,
work and
yeah,
tell my
yeah.
work that I'm.
Right,
I
and I
got
mean,
these
somebody does have,
diseases or anything.
right. I just feel like you're,
Dancing a
yourself in-
fine line with ADA.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
wanna just
very fair.
scratch that, just scratch that one out altogether?
I would prefer to, I would like to strike the other one as well.
I don't have, again, I'm not,
Which
those,
one?
they didn't come from me.
Has never been convicted of a crime. I mean, obviously, we're not gonna hire somebody with having a crime. But we have other things in place where I don't know that that needs to be,
It's redundant.
the background check,
Yeah, it's
yes,
just redundant.
yes,
Yeah, the background check does.
The background check would be even more thorough than just the generic statements.
exactly. And other than that, my only other, which I had talked to Mr. Kopp about, was maybe not doing the Indeed and the LinkedIn and focusing on our city manager, our professional web pages, but talking to some other ones, and just go for it and be done with it.
The only, your email that you sent out, I think LinkedIn, the professional, I think the total that you sent out for potential for a 30-day advertisement was less than $5,000, if I'm not mistaken. Was that like the total?
If you use every resource that I cited, it was less than.
For 30 days, and that was for 30 days, correct? And that's a normal advertising window that we would apply in this situation, have applied previously, correct? To get somebody, I guess I think I just disagree with that. I'd like to cast as wide a net, and I think that's a good platform, the executive level, because that's where a lot of those professionals are. And that's just from what I've seen. If anybody else has any other ideas, like I said before, if anybody has suggestions or ideas for other platforms or other places to disseminate this information, to cast the widest net, but cast a specifically wide net to the right candidates potentially. I just don't want to sell ourselves short, and I think $5,000, although it's real money, I think it's a drop in the bucket when you're trying to hire an executive level position for somebody that you potentially would have for a long period of time, maybe. No guarantees, obviously, but if we find somebody that's qualified, it's well worth it. I think that money's well worth being spent to acquire that person. If after that first 30 days, that platform or, you know, the ones that cost the most money don't seem to be having any return, I think it makes more sense to come back to, okay, we didn't see any return on these, maybe we reconsider or reassess. That's just my take on it.
Can I ask Mike a question here? Where did we get most of our applicants the last round? Do you remember?
Most of them came through a combination of Indeed or direct email.
I think we got to include it. That's the way I feel.
Is Indeed, and is that just a free service? Is there anything,
No, it's cost.
Well, that was like an average cost of let's call it $30
okay.
a day.
I'm comfortable with, honestly, as I had it, I'm comfortable with all of them. I think it was for a 30-day advertisement window cycle. I think they're all,
So I think, just for action items out of this, amend the job description, vote to accept the job description, then direct the city clerk to make the postings.
Right, I have 2 more things though.
So I mean, I'm not talking about tonight, I'm just saying probably
Right,
next meeting.
right. I think it's simple. We can get done and move forward with it. I meant to go back through here and reread this and look for this, but do we have where they supply references or the cover letter, or is that something when you get it out on the web pages we put? Because
Cover
a lot of them I
letter is in
looked
there.
at said, you know, like to supply the cover letter and, you know, however many references. I don't remember seeing that, but I didn't go back through and look again.
Are you looking at the job description or the advertisement?
Oh, I was looking at all of them.
Could be,
I didn't see it. Maybe it was there and I just missed it.
it can be part of both. I think it's part of the advertisement, but I'd have to see the advertisement to be sure.
Are you guys okay with that, to get the references in the cover letter when they apply? I mean, I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer, but
I always just assume when somebody submits a resume, an executive level resume is gonna have references and stuff.
wait till you see.
Which is fair. I mean, we haven't really done a full-fledged.
Yeah,
Some do provide, some say will provide upon request.
Got it.
It's a give or take. I'm in the process right now at work of hiring a senior individual, and we got 11 responses back. And night and day from the top to the bottom as far as what was presented back. And a lot of it just comes down to what the individual submits as a resume. Because there is no standard one-size-fits-all shoe
Right.
of resumes. So I think adding things to or detracting things from, we let them submit what they submit, and if we need it, we request it.
Filter that out.
Because, I mean, like I said, some people just say, I will provide upon request. I understand why they do that, some of them, and other ones are more than willing to give them up. But, you know,
I'm comfortable.
I'm not even sure there's value in references, only because who's gonna put someone bad on their resume? I mean,
Yeah.
It's a good point.
It's always
It's a good
that
point. It's a
glowing
good
review,
point.
you know?
but it's
point.
still an option to reach out and touch
Yeah.
base, so if it's
comfortable now.
provided, we can do it, you know.
with having it or not having it?
With not specifically asking for it.
Okay.
Again, I think to Kevin's point, I think it probably, we start creating a bunch of extra hoops, like, hey, we require this, we require that, we require this, just to say hello, just to, you know.
Right.
I think that's a good point. I don't think we need to require that. I mean, like you said, once we get, let's say we get 15 resumes, 15
ask.
submissions for interest, and then we filter that out, we go through you go through an evaluation process or whatever to determine who we're gonna move on to a round or interview or that kind of stuff, we could go on further and ask for additional things if we require it.
Okay, and then my only other thing, and we've had multiple conversations with in-house employees and remote employees. Do we want any kind of language in there that our expectation is that they are in this building working versus remote?
Is there anything that says remote?
No.
Is it just silent on it?
Then I wouldn't bother putting it in there if it's, I mean, this is not really a remote job.
Yeah,
This, you know,
you're running a city.
yeah.
I think someone would have to
Expected to be
really
in it.
strongly convince and say, hey, I'm gonna do this job but not be here.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a really tough sell. It requires oversight. It's a delegation position. I mean, it's an executive level where you're delegating authority to everybody in the building all day long, every day. That's really what it requires.
I agree, but I just.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question.
Okay, so, striking the convicted as a crime, the excellent physical health, and then applying it, sharing it everywhere that you had shared for 30 days. Do we want a time? Are we putting until filled? Are we putting a specific date?
I think it's until filled. I mean, why,
Yeah,
I guess why limit it? It would take, not that it would change if, you know, we have somebody, let's say we go through an interview, we get multiple candidates that come back, and then we go through an interview process, and we're ready to negotiate with somebody, and then the golden candidate shows up, whatever that looks like. Why limit ourselves? I guess, what's the benefit of limiting, I guess?
Setting a date sets expectations and limits the expense. If we say open-ended, I mean, how many times did we advertise before? How many times did we have to go back out and re-advertise? Because we got no applicants, or the applicants we got basically might as well have signed their name with an X in some cases. You know, we just need to get the right people to apply upon the advertisement.
Right.
You've always got the option of the golden goose coming in 3 months after we've hired and said, hey, are you still interested?
That's fair.
But we can't bank on that. I say we put it out for 30 days, see what we get back, and move from there, because this is not something we can just really drag our feet on, just hoping for that to fall out of the sky.
Good point.
Okay. So we're having this conversation. Welcome to our craziness.
Oh, no.
So we have been learning and adjusting things, and Mr. Acom usually sends out, I think we have discussed, like, as applicants come in, he's going to share them with us. We have, in the past, rated them on our own, sent that back directly to him. Well, actually, he filters out if they don't meet the criteria. If you want to see those ones, if you have questions about those ones, he sends them out to you if you want to see them. But he does a fine job with that. Then we rate the ones we have, and then we have gone through, I talked to Mr. Kopp about this, we had like Mr. Novotny or the law director, those ones kind of do pre-interview type things. We can do it that way. We can bring them in and we start our interview and not have the administration involved in it. And then from that point, help me, where do we go?
Well, normally we'll submit our ratings back, rack and stack, say 1 through 8 if we have 8 of them. Mike takes everybody's individual submissions, tallies them up, and says, okay, overall, candidate A got 5 number 1 places, so he's obviously number 1, and it ranks down. How many do we wish to interview at that point? You know, out of, let's say if there's 8 of them that make the cut, we interview 5 or 6 or whatever happens to come in, because we've had next to nobody sometimes. Once we do that, if we have someone of interest that we think we need to follow up with, then that's normally the city manager, law director, someone reaches out and gets those clarifying questions and or further explanation of the position if necessary. And then from there, we roll into actual interviews. Scheduling an on-site or a Zoom or whatever interview, and we go down that road. So that process actually, in my opinion, works fairly well.
I feel like my only part I would like for us to consider is we have this detailed out of what our expectations are, what the requirements are. And I'm willing to do it, take this and put it into a form where that's what we use for our rating. And obviously, like, there's things that are important to me, I weight one way, important to you, you weight another. That needs to be in there too, but if this is our baseline of standards or expectations, I think we need to be going through those resumes and using that as our checkpoint of how we rate them.
Weighting them based on how many of those boxes they check.
Right.
Right. I think that's a smart way to do it.
Right. We haven't had that in the past. We've rated for our own, I'm gonna say preference, but, you know, our own ideals of what a good city manager would look like, so.
It's a more logical way to do it, to have it weighted based on qualifications, experience, background,
Right.
that kind of stuff.
What we're asking them for, that's how we rate them, and then,
After that, then, maybe you're gonna probably get into this,
no, go ahead.
the evaluation process, interview process, questions, do we have a uniform, or do we intend to have a uniform methodology for how we're going to go to an interview process, so that we're asking uniform questions across, each member of council is asking these potential interviewees questions that are uniform. So if I ask, we have, like you said, let's say we have 5 interviewees, we decide out of 8 that we bring in an interview. I have 3 questions that I want to ask, but I'm going to ask each one of those people individually the same question, and then weigh those. Is that pretty standard?
Yes,
Okay.
we do come down with a standard question list. All of us put in our input, and we come out with a standard questionnaire list, and we go right down the table asking the questions and evaluating based on the answers of those questions. Obviously, the only catch-22 on the weighting of how many boxes they check is it's a piece of paper. Where the true rubber meets the road is when you're sitting down either in person or over that Zoom call, asking the questions. How did they respond? Or were they comfortable with that answer? Same thing as when they ask us, because you obviously, in the interview, do you have any questions for us? Some have very valid questions. Others are like, no, I'm good. So some of that we fly by the seat of our pants, depending on what they ask. But we go into it with a standard set of questions. Every candidate gets the exact same questions, and from the same people.
Got it.
Right, and then we might piggyback or, if they say something.
Yep.
Now, with that being said, something that I feel like would be helpful, and I don't know if this is proper, but if you know the 2 or 3 questions each of us are going to ask, if we can compile that on a sheet and we can hand it to everybody, so that when we're interviewing, I'm back going, okay, Kevin asked something about utility, and then I'm, like, if we have that sheet for each candidate, then
It's like an
you can put their
evaluation matrix
response.
where you have-
Right, like a
And then you can
matrix.
take that matrix and weigh that with their checkbox answers
Right.
as far as their
And
qualifications.
you've
are
got
concerned.
the
And
specific
really get a
question.
much better view overall, personality, qualifications, experience, responses,
Right.
personability, those kind of things.
Right.
Sounds good. I think it sounds like a solid process.
Are you good with that, Mr. Acom?
Yes.
I've been through this.
Do you need us to make a motion to accept this or amend it, or what?
I don't think you're gonna do that today.
No, I don't, I think that, I have some notes, and did you make some notes on what you wanted struck from it? I can make those revisions and send it back out to you. Did you guys have to approve it the
We
first
should
time?
have to approve it on the agenda, just like we did the assistant law director job description and the posting, and then we also direct him to do the posting, so.
So separate items.
A lot of that is also administrative in nature, so it really does not require us, other than basically us telling the city manager, make this happen.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
I
Like, he
mean-
can send it all back out to us with the revisions. Once the revisions are accepted, then we,
The cost is within the city manager spending budget authorization, so therefore, we don't have to expend or authorize.
It's already been appropriated.
Right.
Do we need to, and this is just go ahead.
The job description, the actual position, like the duties of the position, which you have, or we talked about that, there's that list of,
Which is
are we
It's
gonna
still the
amend
same-
that?
it's still the
We're
same.
not changing that? Did anybody look at that?
I reviewed what was sent out, but I didn't see anything that needed to be adjusted.
Yeah,
I was
I-
either. I said okay.
yeah, I was okay with this.
Okay.
was something specifically that stood out to you that you wanted to address, or?
No, I'm just asking, because we didn't really talk about it.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was also the standard, that was what has been sent out previously as far as job description, the actual requirements of what the job entails, like that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And then I think there's been negotiations when it goes into contract negotiations where, okay, I want to do this, but I don't want to do that, those kind of things. And that's one of the bridge we cross when we get to it. at that
Right.
point.
That's when we have to get involved, because you're actually
Nego-
setting or changing a contract
Right.
or an agreement.
Right.
Question. We have a deadline. We have a time limit.
A month ago.
Right, that's my point. I mean, if this is going to drag on, if we need to make a directive, the administration to make this happen, all these different steps or whatever needs to be involved, does this need to be something we need to have, you know, a special meeting for, an emergency meeting, and pass it and present this as emergency legislation to get this passed immediately? Is this, can we just enact this in a motion? I really wish we had a law director here to have this conversation with.
And
I was thinking about that, if I may. I
Or a
think you could-
resolution,
I
maybe,
think you
sorry.
can resume council rules, and then someone can make a motion to direct me to revise the advertisement or job description per tonight's discussion, and then also advertise on all of the outlets previously communicated to council. And so long as you trust me to make the make the revisions the way that
Mike, can we trust you to make?
direct, you have been able to so far.
I think we trust.
Then I can get that going this week.
That's fair. That answers my question.
can I make a motion to resume? Are you guys good?
I'm good.
Okay, I make a motion to resume council rules.
Second.
Stimpert, Crop, Mr. Axiotis,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Rufner,
Yes.
Ms. Stimpert,
Yes.
Mr. Crop.
Yes.
That passes 5-0.
You wanna make a motion, or you
I'm
want-
gonna remember all that.
Would
Okay,
someone
what you
want
said
to-
before, can I make a
I-
motion for what you said before?
Yeah, let's see, is there a motion?
I move,
Is there a motion to direct the clerk to revise the advertisement / job description per tonight's discussion and advertise
On the
those
previous-
things on all of the media outlets previously discussed?
I make that motion.
For a period of 30 days? Or are we not putting a time on it?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Initial
Thank
period
you.
of 30
For
days.
initial period of 30 days. Would you like me to recite the entire motion back to the chair? I could.
Come on, do it again.
Motion to direct the clerk to revise the advertisement / job description per tonight's discussion and to advertise advertise the position for an initial period of 30 days on all of the media outlets previously communicated to council. That motion made by Mr. Crop. And a second,
I'll second.
Ms. Stimpert, Mr. Rufner,
Yes.
Ms. Stimpert,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Crop,
Yes.
Mr. Axiotis.
Yes.
Pass 5-0.
All right, on to public comments.
There are none?
And closing remarks. I only want to follow up with the Enbridge gas project up here. We're winding down on that. The citizens that have had work in their tree lawns and yards where the laterals were tied in, I urge everybody to take a good hard look at it, because once these guys are out of here, it's going to be difficult to have anything remedied. And I think that's all. One other thing, with the treasure hunt, we had a call tonight about a suspicious vehicle down by the covered bridge. And, I think it's important for us to monitor our neighborhoods and what goes on, but we have to also take into account that there's going to be visitors in our town, people we don't recognize, and we have to, amend our normal routines for that. And with that said, we also need to keep an eye out and protect our neighborhoods and make sure that people are not using that as a guise to come in and case the neighborhood or to do anything nefarious. So that is all I have for comments tonight. Mr. Axiotis, sir, do you have anything for us?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Mr. Crop?
Just to my council colleagues, I very much enjoy and appreciate fruitful conversation and trying to handle the business of the village. And I'm going to remain and still very hopeful moving forward that we will handle all the things that we need to take care of and do it collectively. And I think professional discourse and being able to address items like we had this evening thoughtfully, intelligently is exactly what has probably been lacking up here for a long time. And I appreciate it. And I just wanted to let everybody know that I think that's really what the business of representing our constituents, representing the village entails. And I think that's what it looks like. And I just wanted to let everybody know I appreciate that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Julie, do you have anything for us?
I have nothing, sir.
Mr. Burke?
Yes, I'd like to once again mention that I went through the city manager and to organize the street department to pick up your limbs from that previous storm. So between tomorrow and March 27th, please call the city administration building. If you have limbs from the storm down, they will gladly stop by and pick them up between the rest of this week and the end of next week. Also, I'd like to thank all our business owners. They're doing such an amazing job out there handling the things going on with that treasure hunt. I mean, I'm not out there looking for anything particular, but it's really great to see our business owners welcome this and serve the people visiting our community. So I want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Mr. Riffner, do you have anything for us, sir?
One last thing, closing out tonight, the Newton Falls Community Easter Egg Hunt will be held on March 21st at the Newton Falls Junior High School building. The Easter egg hunt will begin at 1 p.m., doors opening at 12:45. This is a free event, and it is open to children ages 2 to 12. So, again, pictures will be available for those wishing to have them with the Easter Bunny, but been a great event for the last several years, and it's kind of continuation of what we've started over the transition from the Girl Scouts over to the school now taking it over. So, again, last year I was there, and I could not believe the amount of people crammed in those hallways, but nonetheless, the kids, every one of them walked out of there with a smile, mostly, I'm sure there were some, but it was a good time. So, again, come on out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riffner. All right, that'll conclude remarks. Do we need a motion to recess into executive session tonight? Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Sure.
Crop, Mrs. Sempert, Mr. Riffner,
Yes.
Mr. Axiotis,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Crop,
Yes.
Mrs. Sempert.
Yes,
Pass 5-0. 7-4.
7:04. Look at us.
Yeah. I would have asked
50
me
minutes
that
of it
earlier
was
today.
your
I
report.
couldn't.